I have a quick question for Mr. Scott. Now, I would like your brutally honest opinion on something, and we've already gotten James Cameron's opinion on it, but as a huge Alien fan, I want to know what you thought of Alien versus Predator.
I think I got to be careful what I say because I actually have a very nice arrangement with 20th Century Fox. I think they know how I feel.
So are the words of Alien director Ridley Scott, diplomatic enough when asked his opinion of Alien vs. Predator. This footage from user Andrew Cash was from 2007's Comic-Con, long before Scott ventured back into the world of Alien with his prequel film, Prometheus. Scott was not a fan of the franchise crossover, which he would make abundantly clear in later interviews, most notably in reflecting on the original film's 40th anniversary when he spoke to The Hollywood Reporter. "I think Alien vs. Predator was a daft idea," he said. "And I'm not sure if it did very well or not, I don't know. But it somehow brought down the beast, and I said to them, listen, you can resurrect this, but we have to go back to scratch and go to a prequel, if you like. So we go to Prometheus, which was not bad, actually." Regardless of your feelings on Prometheus, or whether you may feel it's a superior film to Alien vs. Predator, you have to wonder how much of a response his own film may have been to Paul W. Sanderson's 2004 crossover. Was Ridley Scott so adverse to what was presented in Alien vs. Predator that he set out to erase the elements it established? Was this taken so far that Prometheus could even be considered a remake of sorts? Maybe this is worth taking a closer look. Both Prometheus and Alien vs. Predator act as prequel stories taking place in events set before the original Alien film. Each involve the founder of WEYLAND financing a mission that will lead to a significant scientific discovery. In Prometheus, it is Peter Weyland, played by Guy Pearce, and in Alien vs. Predator, it is Charles Bishop Weyland, played by Lance Henriksen. Peter Weyland intends to follow coordinates to a location on a far-off moon, LV-223, that could hold a key to mankind's creation, while Charles Bishop Weyland intends to track down an ancient pyramid in Antarctica that could hold a key to the creation of modern civilization. The mission in Prometheus is led by Elizabeth Shaw, the mission in Alien vs. Predator is led by Lex Woods. Each mission begins by gathering the team together for a presentation. These presentations reveal that the ancient clues they've come upon somehow contain elements from several different past civilizations that otherwise have no relation to one another.
These are images of archaeological digs from all over the earth. That's Egyptian, Mayan, Sumerian, Babylonian, that's Hawaiian there at the end, and Mesopotamian. Now this one here is our most recent discovery. It's a 35,000-year-old cave painting from the Isle of Skye in Scotland.
My experts tell me it's a pyramid. What they can't agree on is who built it and when. One expert tells me this has features reminiscent of the Aztecs. Another tells me it's probably Cambodian. What they all agree on is that the smooth side is definitively Egyptian.
I think your experts are right.
Which one?
All of them.
These are ancient civilizations. They were separated by centuries. They shared no contact with one another, and yet the same pictogram showing men worshipping giant beings pointing to the stars was discovered at every last one of them.
Meaning what exactly?
This pyramid contains the features of all three cultures. This might be the first pyramid ever built.
But built by whom?
By the first civilization.
You're saying we're here because of a map you two kids found in a cave, is that right?
No, not a map, an invitation.
We call them engineers.
Engineers? Do you mind telling us what they engineered?
They engineered us.
Their starting points are strikingly similar. How these missions are carried out are certainly different enough. A multi-billion-dollar operation to trek light years away from Earth is a little more grand than a trip to Antarctica, to be sure. Prometheus had a massive budget compared to Alien vs. Predator and could achieve much more by way of visual effects, yet regardless of the budget, we get in broad strokes similar enough staples of a science fiction horror film set around a doomed exploration. Each film has plenty of moments with characters slowly making their way through dark corridors, cautiously aiming their lights. They read and translate ancient texts that draw them further into the mystery. They make startling discoveries that lead them to believe they've gotten into more than they've bargained for. And of course, it reaches a point where everything goes to hell and it becomes a fight for survival. With AVP, it's the aliens and predators running amok, of course. With Prometheus, we have a healthy supply of different horrors, such as the mutated Fifield, the trilobite parasite, and the big bad engineer. All of this is fair enough, I guess, in arguing that they're somewhat similar, but maybe in the most general kind of way. It wouldn't necessarily be enough to raise an eyebrow and wonder if there was some kind of connection, but it's in some very specific types of scenes and character moments that one has to wonder if Prometheus carries some kind of influence from the Paul W. Sanderson film. Each are films about scientific exploration, yet inevitably we'll see the characters with weapons face off against the monsters. Both Prometheus and Alien vs. Predator make the decision to include an earlier scene that explicitly justifies why these scientific explorers would be bringing weapons along with them. In Prometheus, this is featured in a scene between Shaw and Jackson, and in AVP, between Lex and Russo.
Hey, Jackson. What's that for?
Expedition security. My job's to make sure everybody's nice and safe.
This is a scientific expedition. No weapons.
All right, then. Good luck with that.
7 seasons on the ice, and I've never seen a gun save someone's life.
I don't plan on using it.
Then why bring it?
Same principle as a condom. I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have one.
Another oddly similar note found in both is the somewhat antagonistic relationships between the tough guy character and the nerdy character. Our tough guys are Fifield in Prometheus and Verheiden in AVP. Our nerds are Milburn and Miller. In Prometheus, Milburn tries to strike up a conversation with Fifield, who immediately shows aggression toward him, stating he doesn't want to make any friends, he's just there for the money. In AVP, Miller is seen playing around with some equipment and is approached by Verheiden, who threatens him, causing him to scurry away. In both films, in both cases of these pairings of character types, circumstances would lead the tough guy character and the nerdy character to wind up lost together in a dire situation. Milburn and Fifield end up lost inside the engineer's ship, while Miller and Verheiden are lost in the ancient pyramid. In each case, they end up bonding a little bit in their shared goal for survival, but end up dying anyway. And of course, both Prometheus and Alien vs. Predator have a very specific shared character. It is worth meditating on just how similar each film is in including the WEYLAND character, who, in each their own way, is seeking out not just a great discovery, but immortality. Each character is sick, with not much time left to live, and their legacies are important to them. With the Charles Bishop WEYLAND character of AVP, the immortality he seeks is more figurative, more symbolic. This grand discovery will be his legacy. Peter WEYLAND of Prometheus seeks a more literal kind of immortality, hoping for the engineers to have an answer to long-lasting life, to save him from death itself. In each film, the company founder is met with a terrible fate by getting in over his head and approaching a threatening alien being. With Peter WEYLAND, it's the engineer, and with Charles Bishop WEYLAND, it's the predator Scar. Both are killed, and both left with a lingering shot of their discarded corpse. And if that's not enough, they're actually both even killed by the same actor. Ian White played both the engineer in Prometheus and Scar in Alien vs. Predator. So no matter who you get to play the founder of YUTANI, Ian White will kill them. In another similar type of scene, the female lead makes an impassioned plea to her crewmate as the film heads to its climax. She fully recognizes the threat for what it is, and that it needs to be stopped. It is made abundantly clear by this character that if the threat reaches Earth or civilization, it's game over.
Danik, if you don't stop it, there won't be any home to go back to. It's carrying death.
But we have to make sure those serpents don't reach the surface. Because if they do, everything everywhere could die.
The female lead is seemingly left alone after everyone is killed, having to fend for herself. This is a tried and true enough trope for any kind of horror movie, but the female lead also makes an unexpected ally out of a non-human character in both cases. Shaw finds herself teaming up with the android, David, while Lex finds herself teaming up with Scar, the Predator. To be fair, these alliances have varying end results. The villain, for lack of a better word, each heroine faces off against is quite different in each film's climax. Shaw has a final encounter against the Engineer, while Lex is left doing battle with the Xenomorph Queen. It's worth noting, though, I guess, that each of these alien beings are brought into the picture after untold years of being frozen, only to be awakened at the intervention of the explorers on each mission. And of course, both of these films have nearly identical endings. The day is saved, everything's well, but we get one last moment that ends with the birth of a hideous new creature, creating a hook for the sequel. In Prometheus, it's the Deacon, and in AVP, it's the Predalien. We get a good look at the monster, it lets out an ominous growl, and cut to end credits. They say one of the most effective ways to criticize art is to create your own, so is that what Ridley Scott has done here? Does this all amount to Prometheus actually being a sly, secret remake of Alien vs. Predator? Or could this all be attributed to a handful of coincidences? While Ridley Scott has been critical of AVP in concept, he actually admitted in a 2012 interview with Empire that he never actually worked up the nerve to watch it. "I couldn't take that step," he said, laughingly. Either he's not being truthful, or maybe someone on his writing team gave him the gist of AVP and he decided to go about some similar concepts in his own way. It's quite interesting that out of all the possibilities he could have explored with a prequel, he went with the story of a team of explorers investigating mankind's origins, led by the founder of YUTANI, which is something we've already seen, albeit much differently, with AVP. Sir Ridley is a sly devil. I wouldn't put anything past him. If you think there's some validity to this theory, I'd love to hear your thoughts below, and I'd love to hear if you noticed any other similarities between the two movies not mentioned here yourself. If you think this is completely ridiculous, that it's all coincidence and I'm reading too much into it, then, well, you can consider this an April Fool's Day joke. Either way, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and be sure to subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel. A very special thanks goes out to Alyssane, Queen Tier of the Patreon Hive. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for exclusive posts and contests. In the meantime, you can catch up with Alien Theory over social media. Follow @alien_theory on Twitter and @alientheoryyt on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.